Hey there, what's happening? It's your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward here, and I want to answer one of the most commonly asked questions that I get from my followers, and that is about creatine. If you've been reading the comments that come through on my YouTube videos and on my Facebook page and wherever else, I get asked, a lot of questions about creatine. Every single day there is something regarding creatine. What should I take? What's the best kind of creatine? Should I take creatine? Is it safe? Whatever. So that's the reason why I'm making this creatine video. And first off, I just want to say there's no shortage of creatine information out there. If you get on the Google machine and start typing away, you're going to find oodles and oodles of information about creatine. But obviously a lot of my followers, they just want to hear my opinion on it. So hence the reason for this video. So let's just jump right into it. Some of the more commonly asked questions I get. What is creatine? Does creatine really work? What's the best kind of creatine? Are there any side effects from taking creatine? Is creatine safe? Does creatine damage the kidneys? Can teenagers take it? Does creatine help build muscle? Does it help burn fat? How do you take it? Should you cycle it? Do you need to load with it? Is creatine stable in water? Should you take it before or after your workouts? Can you take creatine with caffeine such as coffee? And on and on and on. These are a bunch of the commonly asked questions that I hear over and over again. First off, what is creatine? Creatine is just basically a combination of amino acids, and the whole purpose is it helps to generate energy in the muscles. So it's basically the energy that you use when you're doing heavy weight training type exercises, power training exercises. So creatine is a combination of arginine, glycine, and methionine, and they are naturally found in foods like meat and fish. So as far as the safety issues, you're getting creatine anyway if you're eating a well-balanced diet. You're getting small amounts of creatine. So it's not like some unnatural foreign substance that you're putting in your body. It's just natural amino acids that you need, and by supplementing creatine, you're just increasing the amounts of these amino acids. So you're getting more of the good stuff, bottom line. So it's safe, it's natural, it's not harmful, it's not steroids, it's not going to shrink your junk, it's not going to hinder your sex life or any crap like that. There's all kinds of myths and misconceptions, but basically it's just natural stuff. Creatine helps to regenerate adenosine triphosphate, which is also known as ATP for short, and just to make it easier to pronounce. But again, that's the energy that's stored in the muscle cells, and creatine basically helps to recycle this energy. Alright, let's just get into it. So does creatine really work? Yes, it works. Creatine has been around for 20 years or more as a bodybuilding supplement. It's been around longer than that, but as a bodybuilding supplement, for the past 20 years, it's been one of the top selling supplements on the market. And if something lasts that long, there's only one reason for it, and that's because it actually works. If a product didn't work, it would not last in the marketplace that long. Advertisers could not bullshit and make up excuses to get people to keep buying it over and over again if it didn't actually produce results. That's one of the things, this is kind of like a side note now, but when it comes to supplements, you'll see new products hit the market over and over again all the time. And a little trick that you can use to determine whether it's worth taking or not is how long has that product been on the market. If it's been on the market for over 3 years, then chances are this is actually something worthwhile and worth looking into because it's proven itself through the test of time. If something is brand new, it just hit the market, regardless of how sexy the ads make it sound, you don't need to run out and be the first guinea pig to test it out. If you want, let other people test it out. Let other people be the guinea pig. And if it lasts the test of time, if it sticks around, after a few years, then hey, maybe it's worth taking and you can look into it. But creatine definitely fits this bill. It's been around as a bodybuilding supplement for 20 plus years. So the stuff works. Okay, generally when you start taking creatine, especially if you've never taken it before, within the first week you're going to notice that you feel fuller, you feel stronger, you're going to be able to handle more weight in the gym. The typical exercises, sets and reps and weights that you've been lifting all along, it's going to start to feel easier, and you're probably going to notice you can either lift heavier or get more reps. So it does definitely work, and the effects are really noticeable the first time you take it. And it's even more noticeable for people who don't consume a lot of meat products. So like vegetarians, for example, when they take creatine, it's like, whoa, all of a sudden they're getting all these amino acids that they're normally not getting, that they're probably in a deficient state of. All of a sudden they're getting optimal levels of these amino acids, in the creatine, and they feel stronger. So definitely, does it work? Yes, it works. What's the best kind of creatine? This is a common question, and there are oodles of creatine products on the market, and for the most part they all work, but what you need to look at is the best bang for your buck. And when creatine first hit the market 20 years ago, everyone was using creatine monohydrate. And you know what? It worked awesome. People got results. It created a lot of buzz, and that's what really started the whole, creatine supplement industry. So, if it worked back then, guess what? It still works today. We haven't changed. Our bodies haven't evolved over the past 20 years where we no longer respond to creatine monohydrate. So you can still use creatine monohydrate and get great gains. And the best thing about creatine monohydrate is it's the best bang for your buck. You can buy like a big 1,000-gram jar of creatine monohydrate, which is going to be enough creatine to last you for like 3 or 4 months, and work out to like maybe 10 cents a day to use creatine. So it's the best bang for your buck. It's dirt cheap, and it works. So that's why I definitely recommend it. I mean, even if you're on a tight budget, I think you can probably splurge 10 cents a day to get the benefits from using creatine. Okay, there's no skim through. Again, if you want to read more about this, click on the link below the video. I got all this explained in more detail on my blog. So, creatine monohydrate, best bang for your buck. It worked when creatine first hit the market, and guess what? It still works today. Are there any dangerous side effects from taking creatine? This is one that comes through a lot, and generally, when it comes to muscle building supplements, anytime something shows promise that it actually works and it actually delivers results, people automatically assume that it must be bad for you. And I think this whole idea comes from, anabolic steroids. People think, okay, well, steroids can make you stronger, but there are side effects. So they think, well, anything that makes you stronger must have side effects. And that's not the case. Proper nutrition, exercise, and getting rest and recovery, all these things can help make you stronger, but there's no side effects to it. So the same thing, is there side effects to creatine? Not really. I mean, it's a very safe supplement. It's made from amino acids. It's naturally found in foods that you're probably eating anyway. So overall, creatine is a very safe supplement. Again, creatine is not a steroid, and it doesn't have any of the side effects that are associated with steroids. You're not going to lose your hair. You're not going to get acne. You're not going to have roid rage. It's not going to fry your liver, or it's not going to shrink your balls, or anything like that. Creatine is safe in those regards. In fact, there's never been any serious side effects from creatine ever recorded in any research study. And if creatine was dangerous, it would have been pulled from the market long ago. But instead, creatine supplements have been used by athletes and fitness enthusiasts for 20 plus years. The FDA is pretty strict on stuff like this, so if things are found to be dangerous, they will pull it from the market. Does creatine damage the kidneys? No, creatine doesn't damage the kidneys. What a lot of people get mixed up in is one of the markers that they use when they're measuring kidney health is creatinine. And it spells and sounds very similar to creatine, but creatinine is not creatine. So that kind of confuses some people. When they're doing research, and say, well, high creatinine levels is bad in the kidneys, so they think creatine is the same thing, but it's not. Those are two separate things altogether. So if you don't have any pre-existing kidney issues or liver issues or anything like that, creatine is safe to use. Now, obviously, if you have pre-existing problems, you want to check with your doctor first. If you have kidney issues, if you have liver issues, if you're diabetic or whatever, be smart, check with your doctor and see what you can and can't use as far as food, supplements, and everything else. you have to look after yourself. But if you're in good health now, then creatine is safe to use as well. Can teens take creatine? Yes, I actually did a video a while back talking about protein intake and teenagers. Can teens take protein? And I explained that the same pretty much applies with creatine as well. And creatine is safe, it's natural, it's found in foods that we eat anyway, and teenagers, can use it as well. I always find it amusing how parents will very often let their kids, go to McDonald's and get their Happy Meal, go to, the store and buy their chips and their bars and their candies and their gummy bears and their jelly beans and whatever, all that stuff. And that's fine because, junk food is socially acceptable. But, when Johnny starts lifting weights and all of a sudden he wants to take protein or creatine or something like that, they all of a sudden, oh, that stuff's bad for you. Don't take that. But, cakes, cookies, chips, jelly beans, whatever, that's all fine and dandy. But for God's sakes, don't take protein powder, don't take creatine. It's just what's socially acceptable. I mean, obviously, most parents never grew up taking nutritional supplements and probably never exercised, so it's all foreign to them. And I'm not blaming the parents, it's just misunderstanding because it's something that they're not used to. Moving along with the questions. Should you cycle creatine? This, you're going to hear mixed reviews with it. Some people believe you should take it for so many weeks and then come off it. And other people say, just take it all the time. Personally, I take creatine the same as I take, my other supplements. I take creatine the same as I take, protein or vitamins or things like that. I just use it consistently. I don't cycle on and off protein. I don't really cycle on and off vitamins. I just take creatine consistently. For me, I like to use it before training and after training. So if you are going to optimize creatine, maybe with your pre-workout meal, have like 5-gram serving of creatine to get it in your system. And then with your post-workout shake, have another 5-gram serving of creatine mixed in with your post-workout shake. And that will kind of give you the best bang for your buck because you get the creatine in your system, so it's available to use during the workout itself, and then you're helped to replenish the creatine after with your post-workout shake. So that's the way I generally recommend it, and the way I recommend it for most of my coaching students as well. What else was I going to say there? The only time I'm losing my train. Non-workout days. That's what I'm trying to get at, of course. Should you still take creatine on a non-workout day? Yes, you can take creatine probably once a day on your off days just to help to maintain a steady supply of creatine in your system. That's what I do, and it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I mean, you can throw in a spoonful in with a protein shake or something like that. You don't need to worry about, okay, will creatine mix with my protein and can I absorb it and all that? Absolutely. I mean, when you're getting creatine from your natural foods, I mean, let's say it's found, you're eating a steak, so you're getting some creatine from your steak. Chances are you're not just eating steak. You're having your steak, you're having your potatoes, you're having your vegetables. You're getting a wide mixture of food and nutrients. It's not just creatine. Same thing when you're taking it as a supplement. You can throw it in with a protein shake, you can throw it in with whatever, and it's still going to get absorbed and utilized by the body. Our body is not just designed to consume and digest one nutrient at a time. You can consume various foods, various nutrients in the one meal or the one shake or whatever, and your body's going to break it down and utilize it. Alright, what else we got here? Should you load with creatine? This, again, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. People sometimes like to load up with creatine, and back in the day, this was the real popular way to do it because you want to get the best bang for it, and when people really got, the big results from initially taking creatine is because they loaded with it. But honestly, you don't have to load with creatine. You can still get the same results if you just take it in a moderate maintenance style dosage. It's just going to take a little longer for it to build up in your system, but you'll still get the results. So it's totally up to you. I mean, if you want to start off loading with creatine, then you can do that. Take several servings a day for the first week just to kind of jumpstart it in your system. That's fine, but it's not necessary. And one drawback, especially if you've never taken creatine before, and you all of a sudden start loading it, taking like 4 or 5 servings a day, it may cause a bit of stomach upset, and because you're just not used to it. It's a foreign substance coming into your body. Not necessarily a foreign substance, but an excess of a substance. Because you're taking the creatine that you're not used to having, and you're taking it several times a day. It may cause a little bit of stomach upset until your body actually gets used to it. So to play it safe, I recommend just taking a maintenance dose right from the start and let it build up in your system gradually over the course of a couple weeks. What's a couple weeks? If it takes 2 weeks for creatine to build up in your system, so what? It's not like you're in that big of a hurry to build muscle that you got to get it all in you right away. So that's my advice. I would say 5 to 10 grams consistently, and that will probably avoid any stomach upset that you may get with loading with creatine. Another question that comes through a lot is creatine stable when mixed in water? And technically, the true answer to this is no. It's not stable when mixed in water, but it's stable enough from all practical purposes of mixing and using creatine. Some people are so anal when they mix up their drink, like they'll have their glass of water or whatever they're going to mix it with, throw in the spoon of creatine, stir it up, and then chug it right away because they're afraid that it's breaking down in the glass, by the second. And if they don't get it in them right away, then it's going to be useless. And that's a crock of BS. In fact, I've seen studies online where they've measured creatine that was kept in water for 120 days. So pre-mixed creatine for 120 days. And after that length of time, it was still at 80% potency. So, the creatine had only broken down by 20% after 120 days mixed in water. So, it's okay to mix up your creatine in a post-workout shake and drink it an hour or two later at the gym. You don't have to mix it up and chug it within the matter of seconds. It's not that fragile. It's not going to be breaking down by the second. So, that's one question I get asked a lot. You can have creatine mixed up in advance. In fact, there was companies out there that used to make, and probably still do, liquid creatine. It was already pre-mixed, in a liquid form, which, I'm not saying it was good or bad, but obviously, if you're going to have that for any length of time, once that expires, it's going to degrade a lot quicker than powdered creatine. What else we got? Should you take creatine when you're trying to lose weight? Well, you need to look at it. You're not trying to lose weight, or at least from a bodybuilding point of view, you should never be trying to lose weight. You should be trying to lose body fat and maintain muscle or build muscle. So, can you take creatine when on a fat loss program? Absolutely. And what you'll find is creatine will help you to maintain your lean muscle mass and your strength while you're dieting for fat loss. When I'm getting ready for a bodybuilding show, I always take creatine as part of my pre-contest fat loss program. And it'll help to maintain your lean muscle mass, keep your strength up while you're losing body fat. So absolutely, the answer is yes, you can take it when losing fat. What you may find is, if you were to take two people who are the identical, let's say you took two identical twins and put them on the same diet, same training program, same everything else, one was taking creatine and one wasn't. The one who wasn't taking creatine would probably lose weight faster, but a lot of the extra weight that they would be losing would be lean muscle mass. So that's why you want to take the creatine, to help maintain that lean muscle mass. When should you take creatine? Kind of already covered that one, I think. Recommend 5 grams before training and 5 grams after. So if you have like a pre-workout meal about an hour or so before you hit the gym, take your creatine then. And if you have a post-workout shake, put the creatine in with that as well. Another one, should you mix creatine with a high sugar drink? When creatine first hit the market, this was the big thing. You mix your creatine with grape juice. That's what all the magazines and articles and everything said. And it worked. Obviously it would spike the insulin levels and help to shuttle creatine into your muscle cells. But do you need to have a high sugar drink for your body to absorb creatine? No, your body's still going to utilize creatine regardless if you have it in a high sugar drink or not. But what I would recommend is if you're going to have it post-workout, then you can have it with a high sugar drink. I mean, post-workout is an ideal time to spike your insulin with simple carbs. So just piggyback, you put your protein, your creatine, your simple carbs, all that stuff into your post-workout shake, and then you can have it then spike your insulin levels, get the sugar and the protein and the creatine into your muscle cells at the optimal time when they're depleted and they're hungry, and they'll soak up all that nutrients rather than having it stored as body fat. So if you're going to mix it with a high sugar drink, do it post-workout. But if you're going to take creatine at any other time of the day, skip the sugar. Just have it, mixed with water, mixed with a protein shake or something like that. What else we got? Can you drink creatine? Or shit, I'm getting this mixed up. Can you take? Yeah. Excuse me. Can you drink coffee while taking creatine? And I actually took a sip of coffee there to wet my whistle. That wasn't. That actually wasn't pre-planned. Anyway, can you drink coffee while taking creatine? Absolutely. You can have caffeine and creatine. And I'm going to explain where this whole issue of creatine and caffeine, conflicting each other. What it is, creatine causes your body to pull water into the muscle cells. That's part of the reason why you feel fuller and feel stronger when you're taking creatine. And, a lot of people actually gain a little bit of body weight, through extra water being pulled into the muscles when they take creatine. Caffeine or coffee or anything like that, any form of caffeine, acts as a diuretic, which causes your body to lose water. So, creatine pulls water into the muscles, caffeine causes your body to lose water. All you have to do is make sure you're drinking enough water to counterbalance what you're going to lose through taking caffeine. As simple as that. Generally, people recommend when you supplement with creatine that you increase your water consumption, but if you're following a proper bodybuilding nutrition program, you're already consuming adequate water intake. I mean, I recommend for most people, at least a gallon of water a day. I mean, that's a good benchmark for most people. And if you are particularly big, you're over 200 pounds, increase that water consumption. But on average, a good benchmark to shoot for is a gallon of water a day. That's upwards of about 4 liters of water. So for you metric folks, shoot for 4 liters of water daily. Okay. So I think I pretty much covered all the major questions there that I get. That's what I have in my blog post. Again, if you want to dive in deeper and read about this, the link is right below this video clip. It's the Creatine Supplement Information 101. And I also have some creatine references. I got a shitload of them there, all at the bottom of that blog post. So for those of you who are really nitpicky, want to get in there and do your cross-referencing and stuff like that, I've got actual scientific studies referenced, and a lot of them. So you can spend the whole afternoon researching creatine if you so desire. Alright, so there you go, folks. That is my creatine supplement information video. Hopefully you found it beneficial. Please, if you have any questions or comments, share them below. Let me know if you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, well, sorry. If you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to my video channel because I'm always adding new information with regards to training, nutrition, supplementation, or whatever. And also, go to my blog, and this is my blog right here on the video, and I have a free bodybuilding quick start kit. And this covers a nutrition guide, a training guide, as well as a 10-part video lesson series to help get you started on the right track. So I have links to all that good stuff, all those goodies, posted in the video description below this video. So check it out. And in the meantime, have yourself a great one, and I'll talk to you soon. Over and out.